Hi guys, so I'd been having real trouble starting new pictures. My ideas for them were just too big and it was actually getting in my way of starting. So I thought I would force myself to do an hour's colouring each day when my daughter was in bed and my other daughter was at preschool. So I just flicked to any random page and just thought, right, I'll just start colouring whatever takes my fancy. I'm not going to have a plan. And so on this page I just started with the hair because I like colouring in hair. And yeah, so I thought I'd give myself an hour to see how much I could get completed. And yeah, I wasn't thinking too hard about it. It was just to get me in the mood of colouring and to get some pictures completed, because after my video a week or so ago where I counted up how many pictures I'd actually coloured in on each book, I was quite disappointed that I'd only done about 5 in most books. So I thought this was a good way to get some more started, and yeah, it made me want to keep colouring after the hour was finished, even though my daughter by that time would wake up, so I'd have to stop, but I'd find myself colouring in a little bit through the day. So it was a really good way of getting me motivated into colouring again. And yeah, so I'll just show you the pictures I did over the 5 days and tell you a little bit about what I'm doing with them. So in this one I used mainly polychromos, but then when it came to the face I like to use Prismacolors because I just find that they kind of blend in together a bit better to make nice skin tones. So when it came to the skin, I used the darkest colour first and just sort of laid in where I wanted my shading. I'd found a wee reference photo just quickly on Google of just a girl's face, and I just used that for reference where to put the shadows, etc. So yeah, I just went in with a really dark brown, and then I went in with a lighter brown and just sort of dragged it out a bit further and started to deepen up some of those shadows. I didn't want to go in too fast, too dark, and make a mistake. At this stage I just sort of felt she looked a wee bit dead looking, so I ended up using a warmer pinky colour just to bring a bit more life into her skin there. And then just using a really light peach colour just to sort of help sort of melt the colour together, and then back in with the shading and some definition around the eyes. And the reference photo that I'd found, the girls had freckles and I thought that was really cute, so I thought I'd add that in as well. And then just adding some grey to the eyes just to make them look a bit more real, and just going through with the shadows. So I was really happy with how much I got completed in that hour, and yeah, I was excited to do more. So on this picture from the Game of Thrones colouring book, I thought I would start with the stained glass window, just using a mix of blues, purples and pinky colours just placing them randomly and then getting lighter towards the centre. But actually, after I'd finished colouring this, I was thinking that this big meal that the picture is of was probably at night time, so you might not be seeing light in the middle of the glass, but oh well, that's what I felt like doing. So this one, I didn't really get as much completed as what I was hoping to. It was very fiddly, doing all the little diamond pattern. And yeah, at the end of an hour I was like, oh, I didn't really get that much completed, but I'm happy with how that one looks, and I'm excited to do the peacock on the table and the rest of the picture. So I was just putting the lid between the glass there, and I forgot to say in this picture I used my Prismacolor pencils just because I have a bigger range of colours, and the Polychromos didn't have the colours that I wanted to use, so I just used the Prismacolor. When it comes to the rest of the picture, I don't know what pencils I'll use. It'll be either Prismacolor or Polychromos. Just whatever colour I have that is the colour I want to use. So there we have it, how much I completed in an hour. Like I said, it wasn't as much as what I was hoping to complete, but I really like that picture. So now onto this book, Magical Dawn by Hannah Carlson. This is actually the first picture I've ever done in this book. There's so many pictures that I want to do, but in my head I'm just like, oh, I have to make them the best I can make them, because that's just my personality. I always have to try my hardest and do my best, but I thought, no, I'll just open up to any page and just do whatever I feel like, whatever comes to me, that's what I'm going to do. So I just used my Polychromos pencils on the leaves there and used some dark greens and olive greens. And I wasn't quite sure what I was doing with the lighting on them, so I just kept it nice and sort of soft. I find that when I'm trying to do these pictures and get as much done as possible in as little time, softer colours I can get a lot more achieved. And then just doing some pinky flowers. I was actually hoping that it would come out a bit brighter than it did, so I might have to maybe invest in a pink Posca pen, or see if my Prismacolor will go over top of the centre of those pink petals to just try and get them a wee bit brighter, but I'm still happy with how it looks. I just was hoping it would be a little bit more brighter, but we all make little mistakes and no one else would think it was a mistake. It's just my personal taste. So my camera actually died on me at the end of this picture. After I'd done all these pink petals, I ended up doing a blue background with a Posca paint pen, a brush one, and I was really happy with how that came out because it's nice and bright. You'll see it in the end photo in a minute. And yeah, I was quite happy with what I achieved on this page as well, considering how fiddly all those little petals were to colour in. So for my fourth picture, I thought I would use some felt pens or coloured markers, and I've just got my fine liners, my felt pens. I've got my brush tip markers as well. Just depended what colour I wanted and what sort of size I was colouring in. Originally, when I first started colouring in, I just loved using felt pens, and I couldn't stand using pencils just because of how long it took to colour things in. You can see how quickly I got this picture coloured in with the felt pens. That's better focus. Yeah, this picture only ended up taking me maybe 20 minutes to colour in, so I didn't even take up the whole hour, but it was good because I felt like I'd really achieved something and got another picture coloured in this book. And there's just the brush tip markers. I think they're art line sticks. And they're the Faber-Castell Connector pens. They're probably my favourite just for the colour range. And then just fine liner pens, which I love to use when it comes to detail type work. And yeah, like I said, this picture only took me 20 minutes, so I got the whole picture finished, and it just shows you how much you can achieve if you've got a little bit of time to yourself to actually colour. So this next picture is from Romantic Country, and this is one of my favourite colouring books, but yeah, I think I've only coloured maybe 4 or 5 pictures out of it. So I was happy to get this one started, and I thought I would go for a real sort of kids storybook feel, a little bit more flat looking. So I coloured in all the grass with just a light touch with the green, and then just went through and did some details with the green fine liner pen. And then when it came to the sky, you can see how far back I'm holding the pencil, so it's a lot easier to control because you're not putting as much pressure onto the paper and not getting lines on the paper. I was just doing sort of a circular motion, just a small circular motion. I was doing that here with the dark green as well. But it just gives you a nice light wash of colour, and then you can go and build up if you want more depth or darkness anywhere, just layering over top. But as this was a challenge to myself to see how much I could get completed in the hour, I was just trying to get as much done, and so there's not too many layers in any of this colouring. But I really like the look you get with this book using fine liners around the edges, because it doesn't have to be a black hard line. It's actually printed in a light brown colour, so you can, when you go over with the fine liner, it really just takes on the colour that you've used in the pen, and it doesn't go through the book, which is really good. I just loved the arch in this picture. I'd looked at this picture for ages and I was like, oh, I can't wait to colour that one in, because it's nice and pretty. So yeah, I just flicked open to this page and was like, that's the one, I'll do that one. And yeah, at this point, I mean, I've already got all the grass done, all the sky done, and those can be quite daunting, just the big open spaces, which is normally just one colour. It's like often people will leave that till last, and then you don't actually get the page finished because it's the boring stuff, where I sort of just thought I'll just do that first, and that way also it gave me ideas for the more detailed parts of the picture, what I wanted to actually do with it. And it's my favourite green that I'm using just there. It's Polychromos permanent olive green, I think, but yeah, that's my favourite green. I find it's nice and natural but still bright. So there I just sharpened the pencil and then just went with a scribbling motion just to sort of create the look of leaves or bushiness to the trees, and then, like I'd done in the rest of the page, just outlined it with the fine liner. So yeah, let me know if you have any ideas on how you've got through being stuck for motivation of colouring or drawing or whatever sort of arts and crafts you're into. How have you got back into it and started enjoying it again? I mean, I hadn't stopped colouring. I kept doing the tutorials and just wee videos, but I hadn't been colouring in full pages, where, I mean, with this one I've got half the page complete, and I actually went on in the evening after this and coloured in all the tables and the fence and stuff, so I've only got the building left to do, and yeah, I'm really pleased with how that came out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!